Welcome to a special edition of the TruExact Show, Quarantine Edition. I'm here in New Jersey right now, and I am talking and speaking to the one and only Chase Moore. He is a producer, beat maker, somebody who I personally really enjoy his beats, and I've been following for about like 6 years now. I listen to all Ilmax old stuff, and you're on a bunch of them. And the one thing that bothers me about like the producers or battle rappers is like you guys never get to tell your story. You know what I mean? Like it's so that's
Right.
why I reach out to you guys and I want to interview all the West Coast guys too, because here in New Jersey on the East Coast you do have fans, and me and my friends sit around and watch all your battle raps and listen to all your music and stuff like that. So I think it's just an interesting take.
Yeah.
Someone from a completely different culture. I'm sure when I hit you up tonight, you're like,
Right.
"What the fuck is this dude from New Jersey fucking talking about?"
No, it's all love, man. It's all love, bro. I appreciate you reaching out, man, for real.
So you ever been to the East Coast? You know what I mean? Like you know?
Yeah. I actually I fucking love the East Coast, man. My sister lives in New York. My
Nice.
sister lives in Williamsburg. So I've been to New York over the last few years, probably 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I got brought out there once for Team Backpack. Me and Mac got brought out there for their
Was that
the
2016?
Money event, the Mission Underground event or whatever.
Was that 2016?
Yeah, I think it was 2016. And then I've toured out there a couple times too. I was out there with Satire and this artist Reverie. So I've been there. I've been there a few times. I fucking love New York, bro. New York City is like my favorite city in the world, bro.
See, what's funny is being from New Jersey, we actually don't like New York that much. I think we,
Right.
I think we take it for granted. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're 30 minutes away, so it's like I'm not going into the city. Fuck that shit.
What part of Jersey are you from?
Central. So we're about like 30 minutes from the city, and it's like we've been there so much growing up that it's just like I do not want to deal with the traffic and all that stuff. But like
Yeah.
we take it for granted. You know how it is. But
Yeah, it probably doesn't have the same allure at
no,
all, because
no.
you're like,
When
fuck New York.
fuck New York. When I was a kid, I used to tell my parents I want to live in New York. And looking back on it, what was wrong with me? Like
Yeah.
fuck that shit. I would never live
Yeah.
there. But seriously,
Hey, I fuck with Jersey though. The Sopranos is my favorite TV
Yeah.
show of all time.
listen, Jersey is very underrated, and what I've heard is you only like Jersey if you're from there. But whatever, we're the most polluted state, populated state, but we're very prideful people. Very prideful.
All right,
people.
yeah. All right, I got you. Shout out to Jersey, man.
Yeah, there you go. Well, dude, you mentioned though what I'd love to get on. See, I follow Satire too, man. Like I've been
Yeah.
watching him since 06, 07 with the jump off where we're at championships. One of his
Yeah.
battles with Dumbfounded versus I want to say No Can Do and Rhetoric was one of the funniest ones of all time.
Like when they were in the alleyway and
Yes.
shit.
Yes, when he said like your dome looks like an astronaut's helmet, like that shit. I still go back and listen to that to this day.
Yeah.
So
A lot of that shit holds up, dude. Like,
Holds
I
up.
mean,
Holds
it's
up.
obviously a sign of the times because there's a lot of like, you know, a lot of filler and a lot of like getting to the punchline. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But not that long ago, I did kind of like a speed rewatch of some of like the WRC shit, and there's still some shit that is like
It's
just
amazing.
as good today as
Yep.
back then. You know?
And it was a different style too. So we're gonna get into that because I want to ask you about the state now and the state then. You being like
Sure.
around the culture that much. But like I want to hear about your story, how you got into making beats and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, really, like I come from a musical family. You know what I'm saying? So, like growing up, like my pops was like teaching piano like out of our house and shit,
Mm-hmm.
and he had like little like recording setups. So like, and just always listening to a bunch of different kinds of music. So like I grew up in you know what I'm saying? Like music was just second nature. You know, I remember being super little, like reading the credits of CDs and shit. You know what I'm saying? And like looking up who was like playing the music and who mixed it and produced it. Like I've always kind of like been like intrigued by that type of shit. You know, so
Yeah.
fast forward to me being like 12, I think about 12 years old. I remember I was like either 7th or 8th grade. I'm like a year younger than everyone, so it might have even been 11, dog. But like, my pops just had like a keyboard in the house that like he used to fuck around with, and I just remember like just being super into rap and like just starting to just like fuck around and figure out the keyboard myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't even have any concept of like sequencing. I would just like record one sound for 3 minutes. If I fucked up, I'd have to start over, add another sound. Like I didn't really get the concept of it yet, you know what I'm saying? But that's how I like got into it. And then another thing was once I like started like fucking around and learning, being like, okay, now I want to make beats. I remember listening to like Dr. Dre, like the Chronic 2001, and wanting to like figure out the melodies of the beats in there. You know what I'm saying? Like I would try to figure out the melodies.
Was that the
around that, like you're like the fucking Next Episode or the fucking the Still Dre, like that era. And I remember like, and even like on some of the older like Slim Shady LP shit, you know what I'm saying? I remember like wanting to figure out the melodies, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then that's pretty much what like got me into like starting to make beats, you feel me? Just being really into rap and like just being fascinated with just like the sound of the beats and like who was doing everything on it, you know what I'm saying?
What's crazy is now you as a beat maker, like you brought up the Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers LP. Aren't his beats, me as someone who listen, like they're the most interesting things of all time because they're not beats, right? Like it seems like Dre didn't stop finishing them and M just rapped over like the piano keys. Like I find Eminem beats the most impossible. If you think about it, think of an artist who actually killed an Eminem beat aside from Eminem. It's very hard to do. It's very hard.
Jay-Z and like Nas, like because Nas had that song The Cross that was really tight. And then Jay-Z, Moment of Clarity. Those are like the only two I can really think of.
Like when you see people freestyle on YouTube.
And that's Jay and fucking Nas.
Yeah,
you know
arguably, like I'm not a huge Jay fan, being from the East Coast. I'm just gonna throw it out there. But like you're talking about two of the top 10 of all time in people's fucking eyes. So of course they should be able to do it. But like if you look at people who freestyle on YouTube, these young and upcoming rappers, they'll always choose like Shook One's beat and those beats. They never pick an Eminem beat. They never. It's impossible to do. You try to rap over Criminal, you try to rap over Kill You. There's no fucking way you can do it. It's impossible. Which shows
it seems like they're just so tailor made that they can only fit the songs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas like Shook One's like all right, that's a timeless beat, let alone being a timeless song. Like a fucking Criminal is a timeless song, but the beat might not be a timeless beat. You know what I'm saying?
It's impossible to rap over. Like I'll try it tonight. Like, like what the fuck are you doing? Which proves how good the artist is, I guess.
I mean, dude, at that time, like the Aftermath shit at that time, you know what I'm saying? Like when it was like 2001 and those first couple M albums and G Unit and all that, like that production was hugely influential on my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I was gonna ask you then, what's the one beat? Like, what's your favorite beat of all time? You as a beat
we've talked about this before. Like, I've gone over this. Like, I do like PSA by Jay-Z, produced by Just Blaze. Allow me to reintroduce that. To me is just the way that shit drops is just like, oh my god, that to me is one of my favorite beats of all time. Still Dre is one of my favorite beats of all time. Fucking I would say like all of the like most of the Gangstar records too, bro, because Premier is my favorite. Premier's on my top 5. And he's like my favorite like sample producer of all time. You feel me?
Well, he did Nas's like, right?
Yeah, he did. That's one of the dopest beats of all time. You know what I'm saying?
Agree. That's another one no one could rap on. Try to hear someone rap on that. It's fucking impossible. I've tried. Yeah. And halfway through, I throw my shit out.
Like fucking a lot of Just Blaze beats, bro. Like he's ridiculous too. Like that, by Hove. I'm like mentioning hella J songs.
Yeah, we're in Jersey now, so we'll do Just Blaze. Didn't he do Pump It Up with Joe Budden?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, there we go. We'll throw out some Jersey for you. All right.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's a lot, dude. There's a fucking lot, bro. Fucking.
So what do you think? What do you think was like your wow moment though? Like, and you mentioned. So we're mentioning the East Coast and West Coast, not to separate, but like, have you ever made beats for East Coast guys, and do you find them to be a little different than what the West Coast rappers want?
Yeah, there is. I mean, a lot of East Coast cats, like a lot of fools have rapped on my beats, like through Team Backpack and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Including me, by the way. Including me. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then like I did shit for Rock and for Sean Price, R.I.P.
Okay.
Like, so going, you know what I'm saying? I did shit for Raekwon before and shit. So like, I don't necessarily find it's that different, but maybe the style they pick is a little different. It tends to be more like, in in the sample, like gritty, grimy sort of sound. That's kind of more,
like
you know,
G
I
Unit,
think with some
50
of the
Cent shit. Yeah.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like that. You know what I'm saying?
I feel
But
like
I mean, dude, like
the West Coast beats are more fun, party like, if you will,
yeah,
like, you know, things like that.
yeah. It depends. It kind of depends on the artist. But I know what you're saying though, because they tend to be a little faster, and they tend to be more like synth centric as opposed to like samples and shit. You know, like that's
But this is why I love like talking to people from out there, like on the West Coast. It's such a different culture. Just like it's so interesting to get your guys' take on things. Like I remember one time, like I contacted one of the rappers out there, and he said like the Ice Cube album. This is probably like 2007. The Ice Cube album is like bumping right now, and like out in the East Coast, you didn't hear anything about the Ice Cube album. Like
yeah,
you don't hear about the West Coast artists out there unless you search for it. Now it's
yeah,
easier, but like back then, you don't hear any of that stuff out here,
yeah.
man. It's
Well, dude, the
tough.
main thing that like even got me into like really like not to say it got me into rap because I was listening to rap before, but like 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang was absolutely the album that made me want to make rap music. You know what I'm saying? And like and to really get me into it. I remember my homie gave me that tape while I was in 6th grade and shit. He gave me the tape of it, dog, and me and my brother took it home and listened to it. And that absolutely is the album that made me want to like
That's the
to
one.
make yeah, that's the one for sure.
That's like us. We always say with white dudes, like personally, when you walked out of 8 Mile, you wanted to rap. Like seriously, all of a sudden, like me, I started to rap. I was 15. Oh, I'm gonna do it. And
Right.
18 years later, it's like here I am in my basement. Like, doing
Yeah.
But like, how did you link up? So like, how did you link up with like making the beats for Team Backpack? Because like when see that 2016 time you and Ilmac were there, I actually auditioned in Brooklyn that fucking time. Didn't make the top 10. Is what it is. It was a fun time though. So
Sure.
how did you end up making beats for them? Like,
well, I started fucking with them at like the very start. You feel me? Because before they expanded, they were doing events in San Francisco, and at the time, I'm from Sacramento. I was living in Sacramento, and that's about an hour and 20 minutes away from San Francisco. So they were doing their first like 1 or 2 events, and I think there's a rapper that I work with named C+. I still work with him. He's incredible. Check his shit out. Like I produce tons of his shit. Him and Ski Beatz have an album together. He's really dope. I believe that he did one of their events, and I'm pretty sure he was the one that was like, yo, you should fuck with these fools. And then I almost think that they reached out to me, and it was one of those things where it was like my boy Plus was already going to do one of the events, and then they reached out to me, and then like I gave them some beats, and then they asked me to come rap. So this was like, you know, I would probably say they're like 2nd or 3rd event. And we had just mutual people that we fucked with. And then so the first event that I did, I rapped on one with Fredo, and I think Shark Sinatra, and then I produced a couple of them. And pretty much from there, we just built a relationship. They would just hit me up when they were doing all their events. And, you know, I started doing more and more on there. And then it just became a thing where, like, I was kind of just like the go-to guy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, I still think to this day I have the most. I think I've done over 30 of them. I counted recently. But, yeah, dude, I just started fucking with them just out the gate. And it wasn't like I wasn't just fucking with, like, one person either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was rocking with the homie Dreddy, who was doing all the filming. I was rocking with Nell, who was managing it. I was rocking with Dev, who was like the business and the funding guy. So I just got in tight with the company, you know what I'm saying? And we just built a relationship. And as they expanded, like I just was just rocking with them to the point where, you know, there's been tons of people who have rapped on my beats, and, you know, they'll find me out to certain events, and, you know, that we just kind of locked in early on in their stages of blossoming. You feel me?
That shows loyalty, though. That's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, how did you end up with, like, so you said you had mutual friends. How did you end up pretty much producing a lot of, like, Ilmac stuff and stuff on the West Coast? Because you're literally, you're, like, on all Ilmac's fucking albums. You're, like...
Yeah. I mean, I've been working with Ilmac since 2006, bro. Like, Like he was the first cat. I was always a huge battle rap fan. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like early, like before the
Jump
8
off
Mile shit.
TV
You know what I'm saying?
before
Like
jump before jump off
you know,
TV, all that.
like Juice and Super Nat footage.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember
Yeah.
seeing, this was back when like shit was on Real Player, dog, like super old internet shit, like undergroundhiphop.com and mcbattles.com and shit like that. So I was always a fan of battle rap. And then I remember 2006, like getting put onto the WRC. I forget how, like I think my homie showed him to me, because back then they used to actually be on demand, like on like the cable shit, like not just YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. It would be like on demand. There was like Fight Club battles and WRC.
Yeah.
They'd be like Mook and Sirius Jones.
In the shoe store. Remember that one?
Yeah.
I remember that one. Yeah.
So basically, fucking, I got put on to WRC, and then I just started watching them all, and I became obsessed with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was mind blowing to me. Because you got to think about it. This is the time when battle rap transitioned to being a cappella, and it was, you know, like more so the freestyle format and then the written shit. So I fucked with it. But what I did at the time was I just started like looking up the people who I liked, and I liked Ilmac, and I just hit him up on MySpace in like 2006, and was just like, yo, I produce, like, you're dope as fuck, like let's work on some shit. And then I sent him some beats, and the first project that he put out, which was called the Rain Check, that was the first record that we ever did. There's a song with him and Copyright, and that was 2006, bro. And then
was that Thoroughbred?
Yeah, that was Thoroughbred. That's the first record that me and Ilmac ever did. Like,
that's an incredible fucking song, by the way.
Thank you, bro.
That is an incredible, like, everything. The lines from, like, we called it the Stone Age.
Yeah. So
amazing.
Yeah, but that was, and the thing that I thought was dope too was like this fool just reached back, and we just started just chopping it up, and then like, even like, you know, at the time it was like, oh shit, he got someone on it too. It was like, oh shit, he got Copyright on it. Like,
at that time, Copyright was huge. Seriously.
Yeah, you know,
2000s,
Yeah, so it just worked out, like, to where we just started rocking with each other. And then, like, I think when he was on tour for that project, I went to the Bay and linked with him. And then pretty much, like, ever since then, we just always just rocked with each other. You feel me? Like, like he used to come to Sacramento. I used to go to Portland. Like, we just started rocking. And then by the time, like, I'm pretty sure that I've worked on every project since then. You feel me? Like, we just built a really dope relationship. And then, you know, like, there was a time then I started mixing all his shit too, you know, because I was getting super nice on Pro Tools. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just kind of just built that, like, solid relationship to where, like, that's my family. Like, even if we never made no music, like, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a good working relationship, and that's my people's, you know? So but to answer your question, my bad if I'm a little long-winded.
No, it's fine.
I've
been at this all night, bro. It's 11:30 here. I'm fucking Go on.
But in MySpace, though, you feel me? And then we just started rocking. But if you fast forward to now, bro, this way, Ilmac is my next door neighbor, bro. We live in LA. He's literally my neighbor, and my studio is right here. So we're working on shit like constantly. You feel me?
Yeah.
We're actually about to drop a shitload of stuff. Like, we should get into that a little later, but we got a lot of projects that we're about to drop, you know.
I'll ask you what you need to promote later.
yeah, exactly. The shameless plug.
Yeah, but sister, so you brought up the 2006, like, the jump off shit, and that's when I really got into it. It's funny because somebody, one of my AIM friends at the time, remember AIM?
Of course, bro.
Okay. Someone messaged me and said, watch these two West Coast dudes light up these two East Coast dudes. And me being from Jersey, I was like, nah.
Like,
so I clicked on it, and it was Ilmac and Thesaurus versus Don P and Sage Badweather or something. Or whatever.
What was his name? I remember that, though.
Some dudes from Jersey or something, but like, and Ilmac and Thesaurus ripped them, and I was like, oh my god, what are you guys doing? You're making us look bad.
Yeah.
So from that point on, I started following all like the jump off 2006, and then I love the '06 format, and then it went to '07. They expanded it. They went to Toronto. That's when we found out about organic out here. You found out about Bishop Brigante because you didn't know about these guys out here. So
Yeah.
like, it was great. It was great to hear about. And then Disaster, oddly enough, was with Satire on the East Coast. Not
No,
Satire.
it was Cyanide.
Cyanide on the East Coast, I think.
Yeah,
So
it was the East Coast.
It was really weird to see like Disaster on the East Coast, but being from LA and Disaster like changing so much from '07 to now, which is just such a transformation. So like, do you prefer? It's a great question. Do you prefer that 9-minute battles or now like the 45-minute ones that go on?
It's weird because I like things about both. I'm a fan of the little bit of a shorter battle because battles are fucking so long these days.
So long.
It gets a little long-winded. But at the same time, though, like if you think about back then, like there's a lot more filler and there's a lot more just like shit that fools would, nowadays probably wouldn't settle on, just because the format was so new. So there's parts about it that I like from both eras, you know what I'm saying? But I think I like the medium of like 2009, 2010, like around that time when
like
it was
the Grizzlemania era with
like the Grizzlemania era and the early URL battles, like basically when shit wasn't fucking an hour long per battle, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
it'd be three rounds, but they'd be 3 rounds, but there'd be a minute and a half limit.
Yeah, or even I remember back then 3 minutes was like, shit, like that's so long.
Yeah.
But I like that a little bit more just because, a battle has to be really good to keep my attention nowadays, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a lot of skill to be able to do that, though.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Whereas, nowadays in a battle, that might be like 3, 4, 5 battles worth of material in one battle now, you know what I'm saying? So I respect it, but I prefer a little shorter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like not an hour long, dude.
Let's be honest. It's like movies. When you put in a DVD player and or Blu-ray, whatever you got now, and you see a 3-hour movie, you're like, oh man. And if you click on a battle and it says like 59 minutes, you're like, holy shit. You'd prefer the 28-minute battle. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You'd prefer more content over length. Like
I do.
Instead of that. I get you. Well, before I let you go, a couple more things here though. What was
it's all good. I'm not in a rush. It's all good.
What was your wow moment though as a producer? Like your wow moment, like the one where you finally hit, like, you were working your ass off and you were like, all right, this is like what I've been working for. I could die now, but like this is a great moment.
Yeah. I did some shit with T.I. in the studio, which was pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this was like, like 2013, so Tip had already been big for hella long, That was pretty crazy. But even just randomly, dude, I did some shit for Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees, like the old school ass group. Yeah. So that to me is like the craziest shit.
Like literally, are you talking about the Monkees?
Yeah, the Monkees.
Hey, we're the Monkees.
Yeah.
We the same monkey around.
Yeah.
Like Davy Jones from
engineering for this school. And ended up even doing some like shit on the Pro Tools and fucking with it, which was producing. To me, that's like the craziest because it's like
that's like working with a Beatle.
I'm a hip hop cat, but like, damn, fool, I'm doing some shit with the Monkees right now. Like, what the fuck?
That is crazy, actually. So, like, who's the one guy you haven't worked with that you would love to?
Probably Benny the Butcher.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
Cause, dude, I fucking love Griselda, bro, and like, but I mean, really, anyone from that camp, like Conway too, but Benny would probably be like the number one cat who I would probably want to work with right now. I actually linked with him in Special before, and we chilled and smoked a bunch of trees and kicked it and built and shit. So like, I've been sending him shit. I know how it goes. You feel me? You gotta you think about someone like that, they're getting 20 million beats a day. But I would probably say that's who I would probably pick right now, because like just because I fuck with the music so much, and I know that I've got shit that's like right up that lane.
And who would you say that, like, because I'm sure, I mean, out here in the East Coast, we listen to like a lot of artists who never made it, a lot of underground guys. I'm sure out there it is. Who's one we should look into out there that like maybe we never heard of that you really into? Like an up and coming guy.
Okay, I would say there's this cat named X. Do you know who X is?
No, I don't. Sorry.
X is fucking really tight, bro.
But I'm writing it down right now. So
yeah, I actually know him through Team Backpack. He's actually done a bunch of Team Backpacks, like, but he is fucking really, really talented as a rapper. We're actually working on a project right now. He's from Vegas, but he lives in LA now, so we're able to like get in the studio and work. But he is just absolutely one of my favorite rappers. You can look up any of his Team Backpacks, or he's got like there's this one cypher with him in Daylight that's crazy. But then he's also got some videos on his YouTube where he's just gassing. Like pull up the one with him over the Watcher beat. He's someone who like not a lot of cats know about, but he does decent. He's got decent plays and decent views on the come up, but he's just raw, bro. Like he just like I'll hear him rap and I'll be like, damn, that was like a perfect verse. Like goddamn, you know what I'm saying?
And the problem is now, you know how the game is. Like you could be the best rapper, but it don't fucking matter. That's what sucks, man. It sucks. It really does. Especially here, like it's just you got so many dudes who like they're so good lyrically and it just gets nowhere. It's really frustrating. I'm sure you as a beat maker, it's very frustrating, man. Like you just, I don't know. Do you have any regrets though, as a beat maker? One you could look back on, like, damn, I should have made a beat for him.
Okay, I would say that I wish that early on, and when I started producing, I wish that I learned a little bit more, on like the musical theory side. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy, like, cause like I'm saying, I come from a family that's musical. Like my pops and my brother are like super nice on the keys, and they know theory and shit really well. But when I was younger, I was like resistant to it, you know. And that's one of the things where I was like, I know that I could like learn how to play better, because I mainly play by ear, and I got a good ear. Like I can play, you feel me, well, but if I always, that's something that I always wanted to do, is just like expand, like, you know, my technical knowledge of music a little bit more with the chords and the harmonies and all that shit. Because it's not like I'm not able to do it, but I don't know like the notes like that, like the names of the notes and the chords and the harmonies and all that shit. That would be something that I would say is something that I would look at as a regret, like, which I've actually been kind of working on my game right now. But that's an area that I always, you know, there's definitely room for a lot of improvement. You feel me?
So do you have any advice for beat makers maybe coming up? You know what I mean? Like these dudes in high school trying to fucking, you know, rap or even be on beats. Is it just stay on your grind or never give up?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is that. And I know that sounds like cliche, but like music is one of those things that you just have to constantly do it. It's like the repetition of it is what makes you better. It's like working out a muscle. It's like learning a skill. Like you have to just do it. Like hands-on experience is always going to be the best teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, and also too, like, just really focus on your craft, and all of the other shit will come later. You know what I'm saying? People get caught up a lot in, you know, the business side of it, and when really it's like the most important thing at the core of it is the craft. You know what I'm saying? You have to love it, and you have to do it like as much as you possibly can. And I know that can be tough too, because if you're balancing like a job or if you're balancing school or whatever, but you have to have that type of dedication towards it, because it's like, if you want to like be able to fucking reap all the benefits from it. Like, you can't approach it trying to get those benefits. It has to come from like the love and the passion of it before you can even get to that, you know. And like, I know it sounds cliche, but it's really true though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to keep doing it, and also you have to always study and want to learn and be better, because with music, and this applies to besides just music, but the learning curve is infinite. You can never learn it all. You can't know everything about making beats or making music, you know. So you always want to study, and nowadays you have, you know, the biggest plethora of information at your fingertips with the internet, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always studying up, watching videos, reading threads, like just learning, you know what I'm saying? Like, something that you have to always like apply to this shit, because
not to mention you're in quarantine now, so there's no fucking excuse.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I'm holed up in this lab, so I'm not leaving for shit except the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Fucking work on your craft at this point right now. Are you drinking coffee? It's great, you know? You're living the life.
Hey, spoiler alert, it's not coffee.
All right, fair enough. All right, before I let you go, man, what are you promoting? You mentioned earlier you want to promote some stuff.
Okay, I've got my new solo album is called The Sky is Falling. It comes out at the end of this month. That's all produced by me, full-length album. I got, you know, the cast of people I fuck with on there. I got Mac on there, Satire, Eddie I, Pass, Fredo Algebra, you know, the squad. Fredo Algebra's album just dropped, Fresh Air. That's available on all platforms. And then me and Mac have a series. Basically, we've been working on so much shit over the last couple of years that we just literally pieced it all together, and we're about to drop this series of albums every 2 months. And the first one drops next month. And yeah, bro, so we've got about a good 3-4 albums that are dropping before the year's over. So just stay tuned for all of that shit. At Chase More Music on all platforms. You know, that's where I'm at.
All right, man. Thanks for chopping it up right now, man. Enjoy. Hey, stay safe. No problem. Stay safe out there on the West Coast. Don't go out unless it's for groceries.